everyone, welcome to Morning Listeners. This is Nilima KS and today we are bringing to you an interview session with Ms. Megha Rao. Morning
Hi.
Listeners is an online magazine dedicated to women. It showcases various articles, personal life stories, and interview sessions on different matters concerning women. And on behalf of Morning Listeners, we wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. And today, our interviewee, Ms. Megha, happens to be a fashion designer and the founder of Holy Chic by Megha. So let us welcome our interviewee. Hello, Megha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I love your energy.
So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's the start of a new year. It's a new week, a new month, like a fresh palette for so many of us. So I couldn't be better.
That's true. Now, being a fashion designer is indeed a challenging profession. So, how do you normally kickstart your day?
That's a great question. I recently left my corporate job. I used to have a corporate job and was a fashion designer at the same time. And I felt like at that time, my life was a lot more structured because I had such little pockets of time throughout the day to work, where I would wake up, I would go to the gym, I'd have my breakfast, I'd come home and I would just follow my Outlook calendar. Whatever it told me to do, I would do. Now that I have gone full-time being a fashion designer since last April, my life is not as structured as it was once upon a time. And I think I'm still getting used to it. I think, as anyone transitions from working a full-time corporate job to becoming your own boss, essentially, your schedule changes, your routine changes, and I'm kind of still figuring things out and taking the day as it comes. The majority of my day, I obviously spend being creative, coming up with new designs, new concepts, and shooting a lot of content.
Well, it's true. That was indeed a huge transition, but seems you have indeed adapted to the new one.
Correct. Yep. I'm in process of adapting.
Right. So, what did you have on your breakfast platter today?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. What did I have? I had a spinach feta wrap from Starbucks, and I had a very large iced coffee.
Okay. So, are you a vegan?
I'm vegetarian, so not vegan, but yeah.
That's good. So, talking about the pandemic, how are you coping up with the third wave of pandemic?
I feel like we've learned a lot of lessons from the first wave, and the third wave, to me, we're coping up, luckily, fine. Like in terms of, our workers back home in India, things have definitely been slower, and it's expected, right? Like obviously, people are unfortunately getting sick. That causes a domino effect down the line, right? That causes delays with production, delays with shipment. And so we are experiencing some of that in terms of production delays. But aside from that, no other disruptions that we've faced, especially with this third wave.
Right. Now let us move on to some questions about the holiCHIC. So tell us something about holiCHIC.
So Holy Chic is a South Asian inspired label. I was born and raised in New York, and my entire upbringing, I have been in between dual identities of being South Asian, growing up in a household with South Asian values, traditions, cultures, and then I would go out into the world and I would be exposed to New York and a whole other world. And so somewhere between that experience, my childhood and growing up, fashion became a way for me to express who I was. It was my way of kind of telling the world, like, I've got these dual identities. I'm Indian, I'm American, and fashion became my means of expressing who I was. And Holy Chic is now an extension of that childhood upbringing and experience of mine, which I feel like many other women have experienced living in America or living outside of India. We want this connection to our roots. We've visited India, we've stayed there for summers, long periods of times, and then we come back here and we kind of miss a lot of those traditions and cultures. And this brand is a way to kind of celebrate that and allow everyone to infuse culture into everyday wear.
I can truly relate to your feelings for missing the home country because when I was brought up in UAE, like from a teenager onwards. So, and with the pandemic around, it has been almost 2 years since I've went to India. So I really miss my home country.
Oh, I feel the same way, exactly the same way.
Right. So what are some of your latest collections?
So latest collection, we have been doing smaller drops. We used to do traditionally 4 collections a year. Since the pandemic started, actually, we started doing smaller batch collections. So most recently, we launched our holiday collection, which was a little bit more casual, like a lot of button-down shirts, some dresses with an Indian touch. And we most recently also just announced a collaboration with Shein, which many of you know is a global fast fashion company. We just launched a capsule collection with them, again, staying true to our aesthetic of having Indian inspired designs. So that was the most recent collection that we've dropped.
That's great. Now, how would you like to encourage young female aspiring entrepreneurs who are planning to start their career in this fashion industry?
That's a great question. There's a lot of fashion designers. That's the fact, right? There is a lot of, like many industries, there's a lot of competition. There's many people playing in the same playground, doing the same exact thing. And so my advice would be to really think about what it is that's going to set you apart. At the end of the day, you can buy a lehenga anywhere. You can buy a sari anywhere. But it comes down to what are the things that make your brand unique, right? Stay true to that from day one, whatever it is that you choose to embark on. For us, it was having an infusion of Indian culture. We wanted to just really provide options for people to wear a sari blazer out to dinner or go to a holiday party and be in a dress that reminds you of a sari. That was what we were doing since the very, very beginning. And we stayed true to that. And now people come to us looking for that one specific product or one specific niche. So I would encourage you to really find something that speaks to you, that's unique and different.
That's great. Now, as a female entrepreneur, did you find it challenging to establish your name in this fashion industry?
No, I actually think being a woman helped me. Not only am I a woman, but I'm a mother. I feel like I had a corporate job. I feel like we sometimes as women feel like we don't get as many opportunities because we have different responsibilities. But I think because of the fact that I am a woman, I am a mom, it was actually easier for me because there were so many people that are like me that want to kind of pursue their own passions. And I think looking at an example of somebody who left their job, is a mom, is a wife, has responsibilities, and is also pursuing a passion is inspiring for some women. And I think if anything, it's helped me. There's a lot of attention being drawn to women. There's a lot of women empowerment movements. You see so many examples of women, taking top positions, doing amazing things that we would have never heard of. The Vice President of the United States is a South Asian woman. How incredible is that? So if anything, it's our time now to shine. And it's been an incredible, incredible moment for women around the world.
Right. And it was so true. I still remember the day when Kamala Harris got elected as the vice president. I was jumping around the house and my parents were wondering what's wrong with this girl.
No, but it's a huge moment. It's a huge moment for women, for South Asian women, for women of color. It really just paves the way for so many of us. And I think, like I said, it's our time, and our daughters are, they're going to have these opportunities that we may have not had growing up. And that's really an incredible thing.
Right. After viewing your website, holiCHIC, for this interview, one of my favorite collection was the Taj dress, which had a mix of mirror work and a belt to go with shell embellishments. So many of your collections symbolize a beautiful combination of the Indian embroideries and the Western outfits. So tell me, how did you come about inventing this particular fashion trend?
That's a great question. So, I consider myself, I like to dress up. I like to find new clothes and have a unique style and all these different things. And sometimes when I'm in my own closet and I'm looking to get dressed for an event or, a vacation, I can't find particular things that I have in my head. And really what I do is I create those things. If I'm looking at, a pair of jeans and I was like, oh, I wish these jeans had like this embellishment or this embroidery, that sparks my initial design ideas. And so a lot of my inspiration that you see, including the Taj dress, is drawn on this thing of I can't find what I'm looking for. To take bandhani, which is a traditional form of craft in India, and give it this modern twist where you can wear this now to a resort or a beach, and someone comes up to you and compliments you on the dress, and you have an opportunity to talk about it. This is bandhani. This is a beautiful craft that's done in India, and I'm so proud to wear it. And you could spark conversations from just the clothing that you wear. And so when I choose my clothing, when I make the designs, I think about those conversations and how it's going to make people feel when they talk about it. So that's how a lot of my designs are created.
That's great. Now, how do you manage work life with family?
Good question. I think it's gotten a lot easier since I left my corporate job. The thing about being an entrepreneur, whether you're a fashion designer or any other type of entrepreneur, is you can't really shut off. Like I don't have a rigid schedule. Like sometimes I work on the weekends, I work when I'm on vacation. So it is challenging, but I try my best to involve my children. I tell them what I'm doing. Mommy's designing this dress, mommy's packing this order, mommy is shooting content. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I try to explain to them what it is, involve them in the process, because what's better than learning hands-on, right? Whether it's from your mom, from a teacher, from anyone. And so involving them has been a big value add for me personally to teach them. And hopefully they're learning from that experience.
That's great. So since you said you didn't want to be like a fashion designer initially, since you had started your career as a corporate worker, so what other profession would you have chosen if these two were not there?
So I think, so I actually went to school for broadcast journalism. I wanted to be a news anchor when I was growing up. And my corporate job, which was in banking, kind of just happened. When I was in college, I literally had an opportunity. I took it and I continued to just grow with the company and evolve. But I would say I've always been a very creative person. I've always enjoyed arts. I've always enjoyed dance, fashion. And so I feel like it was always my calling. And fashion design happened very organically for me. It wasn't my intent to be a designer. I was simply just being who I was, creating outfits, and people were coming to me and saying, you should start a line. Like, where can I buy what you're wearing? And that's how this whole idea sparked. It really happened in the most natural, organic way.
That's great to hear. Who has influenced you the most in life?
My grandmother and my mom, because they both played a big role in me being who I am. When you grow up, in a different country, as a first generation Indian American, it's easy to kind of lose the tradition and culture and values that your mom and your grandparents grew up with. But my mother inspired me because she very early on in my life instilled a lot of confidence and courage in me. She used to send me to India by myself. I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I would go on a plane by myself with an air hostess, and I'd go to India, and I would spend I didn't go to camp. I would go to India with my grandmother, and I would spend my entire summer vacation with her. And that in itself was inspiring. I would spend every day with my grandmother. I'd go to Mandir with her. I'd go through the markets with her. I would be exposed to these beautiful fabrics and jewelry. And I didn't know it then that I was going to end up like loving it and being so intrigued by this culture. But my mother and my grandmother play a huge role in shaping who I became, because they exposed me to that at a very young age.
That's great. Now, talking about the holiCHIC, do you add a touch of sustainability in your products?
So We are not perfect at this. There's a lot of progress being made, not just from Holy Chic, but I think the fashion industry as a whole. What we really try to do is upcycle saris, upcycle fabrics that we have had sitting in our factories for months and years and try to repurpose them. That's a big part of one way that we look to be a sustainable brand. Obviously, lots of work that still has to be done across the fashion industry as a whole. It doesn't start or end with Holy Chic. It starts with the industry as a whole.
That's great. Lastly, what do you think this world needs the most?
Right now, it needs compassion. It needs an open mind. There's a lot going on in the world. People are facing all kinds of decisions. They are, facing challenges they've never faced before. And I think there's nothing more important than having an open mind and being open to other people's opinions about things, feedback about things, taking it in, and having compassion towards how other people feel. I feel like, a lot of people right now are on edge. There's a lot of anxiety around the world. People are scared. And kindness and compassion go a very long way, especially in times like this. Just think of ways that you can make somebody happy, make somebody smile, because obviously the world is craving that at the moment and needs more of it.
Right. And with the pandemic around, now people are always putting masks on, but now they have started using colorful masks. And you have recently launched sari masks. So How would you like to comment on that?
Again, what a great little touch that you can add, right? We have to wear a mask, and if we're going to wear it, it might as well be cute. So it's not that it's just an accessory, right? You're wearing a mask anyway. Let's have some fun with it. And for me, it was another way to take saris that were just sitting in our warehouses with our tailors and our factories. And I said, what are we doing with this fabric? Let's create something out of it. People are looking for masks. People want these little touches in their everyday life. So let's create it. And so not only masks, we also created headbands and scrunchies and different hair accessories with the fabric that we had in our factories.
That's great. Now, where do you see Holy Chic in the next 10 years?
In the next 10 years, my goal is to take Holy Chic to a mainstream platform. And what I mean by that is South Asian fashion, for some reason, gets bubbled into this theory of being only worn for weddings or festive events or an occasion. I want to break that stigma. For me, I try to infuse bags, sari bags, masks, scrunchies into everyday life. I go to the gym, I have a sari scrunchie. I go out, I'm shopping, I have a mask. And so for me, I would love to see this brand break barriers. I'd love to see everyone, people of all nationalities, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, wearing Indian-inspired fashion, just the way that we consume Asian food, Mexican food. We listen to music from all around the world. I want people to wear South Asian fashion all around the world in all types of events.
Right. On that beautiful message, you come to the end of this interview session. Hope the audience enjoyed it very much. And thank you today for joining us today, Megha. It really means a lot. And thank you for patiently answering all our queries.
Of course. It was my pleasure. It was a lot of fun for me. A nice break in my day. So thank you.